listening to the All Things Geekery podcast. This is episode 4 of season 4, and this one's called Evolution. I'm your host, Detached.
Hey guys, and I'm Victus.
Well, guys, welcome back to the show. Thanks for stopping by and joining us, and we hope you guys are all doing well wherever you guys are. And if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe to the show, share it, and we hope you guys enjoy this episode.
In this episode, we talk about the latest game to include our favorite rip and tear Space Marine Doom guy. That's one I've been playing a lot. The Debt Simulator Animal Crossing, newest expansion to hit it. We wrap up our season 1 discussion of Star Trek Picard. And finally, we talk about the controversial console wars with the newest information of Xbox and PlayStation. Before we get all to that, we're going to do a quick recap. Because I don't know about you, but I've been getting, with this whole lockdown stuff, I've been getting through my backlog, or at least some of my backlog. I've been adding to the backlog, which has been bad, because stuff has been on sale. Yeah. But I've actually been able to play the games, which is so wild.
You're not supposed to add to the backlog just yet. You're supposed to get it finished and then add.
Well, there was these games, and they were on sale, and Steam, I hate you.
Yeah, Steam is kind of a dangerous arena for me because anytime I get in there, I see things and it's, 65, 75% off. And it's really easy just to click that buy button. It is. It's too convenient. And unfortunately, they make the buy button bigger and more noticeable than any other button on that interface.
Yes. Yeah. And being that I'm working from home and now going on almost 3 weeks now. So basically been inside this house a lot longer than I have been, a lot, and not a lot of time in my hands too. So
yeah, it's funny. I've actually gotten a lot of projects done around the house.
Yep.
It's been kind of nice to have the extra time for that. I haven't really done a whole lot of building though. I've been wanting to do some woodworking projects, but just haven't sat down and really just kind of thought about what I wanted to do. I get started on something and then, I'm like ADD oversensitive. So I end up doing like 82 things at once and never finished the first one that I started and then forgot what I started later on. And so most of my home projects have been things like cleaning our deck or emptying out, old bins of junk drawers and, just things that pile up after non-use. That's been my time over the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of reading.
Yes, which I'm actually waiting. I decided with all this time, one of the things besides getting my backlog was getting back into reading. And I decided to finally make the switch from getting physical books to getting ebooks now.
Hey, there you go.
So I am now committed to getting an e-reader, a Amazon Kindle paperweight, I think is what they call it, is on its way to be delivered Wednesday.
You are going to have a massive backlog now. Of ebooks.
I have ordered 5 different series of books with eight or more books in the series, plus reordered a couple books that I have read probably 20 times, and I plan to read 20 times more. One of those being that I actually just last 3 weeks. I couldn't wait to start reading this trilogy again, and so I'm reading it right now. Not right now on the podcast, but probably after I get done, the Darth Bane trilogy from Star Wars. Nice. It is, but outside of the original Thrawn trilogy, those are on par for me for my enjoyment of the books. Just what's in them and what it takes place.
One of my favorite series that the Star Wars did, and I actually don't even remember the series name. I read it when I was a young teenager. It was the story of basically Luke and Leia, Han, and the group of them, where Luke ended up becoming the Emperor at one point for a short period. Leia became kind of the next Jedi Master, and I can't think of the name of the series for the life of me.
Ooh. Yeah, those, I know the canon probably you're talking
mid-90s.
About. Yeah.
94, 95, 96 era, kind of right in there. those were a fantastic series. I think they spawned 9. I think they had 9 books total in a series.
Interesting. Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't remember the name of them though.
I don't. Yeah, I can't recall it either. But I know the canon you're talking about, which unfortunately is not part of any of the books that I have in my Legacy collection. And when I mentioned Legacy, that's all the retconned canon that was no longer part of the Star Wars universe on the acquisition of Star Wars to Disney.
Which is a shame, because
there's a lot of good
universe,
stuff.
Yeah, that universe had so much good stuff in it. And we're going to be careful, because we'll end up turning this podcast into a Star Wars discussion. And that's not what we're talking about tonight.
No. But yes, Darth Bane Trilogy, I'd recommend it to anyone, even if it's retcon, part of the legend. I thoroughly enjoy it. And some of you, it's garbage trilogy. You know what? I enjoy it. So there. But that, along with I picked up, there were several series of books that were like 99 cents for the 8-book series. They're all sci-fis. Yeah. Some of them sci-fi operas, sci-fi westerns, sci-fi. What was the one I was thinking of? Galactic Empire is the category it was under. I don't know. Highly rated, highly reviewed. And I was like, okay, I'll take a chance. It was 99 cents. So, can't go wrong. But yeah, I'm going to be like neck deep in books for a long time.
Yeah, I think books is a good thing. One of the, welcome to the clan, I should say, because I've been a massive book reader forever. And I think I have even asked, like, when are we going to do some book series on the podcast? And you're like, I don't read no books.
I'll just send you the 5 different 9-book series that I just ordered. So if you could just get on reading those, we're going to do a deep dive next podcast of one of them. I don't know. It could be fun. I don't even know these books, or I don't even know if I'm going to like these. These are totally on a whim, so we'll see.
Oh, well, I'm still trying to talk you into doing the the Lord of the Rings lore series as well. But
I was tempted. I was tempted to get the books. I may actually go do it.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised you don't have them yet.
I will. We'll see. Surprise. Maybe one of these podcasts. But besides books, I have been playing the crap out. I finished up Assassin's Creed Origin. Because I tried to 100% complete all areas in that game, and I was getting burnt out because there's just so much in that game. I didn't even go to all the areas, including DLC, because I wanted to get through the story, because I thought I needed to prep for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because that's what I'm playing through right now. And oh my gosh, does it look so good on PC and play so well.
Are you playing Origins or are you playing Odyssey?
I was playing Origins to beat it, because I thought I needed to, and technically in some small way you do. There's some story in there that ties into Odyssey. But right now I'm about 20 hours into Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And man, nice. It may actually be my favorite out of the Assassin's Creeds. Assassin's Creed Revelations was phenomenal, no doubt about it.
Oh, Revelations was good. Don't get me wrong. Revelations was good. Odyssey is good, but Origins still holds the cake for me on the story. That story is so dadgum hard to beat.
This whole RPG dialogue system and decision making is like, okay, I'm glad you introduced this. This is nice.
That is one feature that I do like in Odyssey that I wish, or if Origins would have had that, then Origins definitely would have been the winner. But I do say Odyssey, from a gameplay standpoint, I do like that dialogue system better than the way Origins played out.
Yep, I would be surprised if they take this way in any Creed Vikings or.
Yeah, we've got the new one. Is it Ragnarok?
Ragnarok, that's it. That's the
Assassin's Creed Ragnarok
name that's been floating around. Yeah, I'd be really surprised if they take that out because maybe they're, majority of Assassin's Creed people out there play it don't like it, but I am really enjoying having that in there and the changes they've done in Odyssey to really separate it, both combat, what's been done, their continual dive into more of an RPG armor talent tree. So good.
Yeah, the talent tree is good. I like where they're going. I hope they continue that system and bring some more upgrades with the new one that's coming. Assassin's Creed has been one of those games that's fun. So backlog stuff, I don't really have a big backlog that I'm playing through right now. I've caught up and just started the new expansion for Division 2, the Warlords of New York, which is fun. I like the story.
I've heard it's good.
Yeah. So it's hard as crap, but it's good. And then for whatever reason, I picked up The Long Dark a long time ago. It was actually gifted to me and played through it. Ton of fun. So I've actually gone back on hard mode now to try to do it. And that was a mistake because hard mode on that game is bonkers. I was doing well in the original game and kind of normal mode. I did well. I made it 7 minutes before I died on hard mode.
This wasn't 6 minutes.
Minutes.
From start of game, 7 minutes you died.
From start of game, once the plane, well, I don't know if you know anything about the story.
Yep, the plane.
Yep. So once the plane crashes and, you see that cutscene where he's got this giant piece of like stone or something shoved through his hand, he pulls that out. From the time that he pulls that out to you finding the cave, I was alive 7 minutes and then died.
Wow.
It was dumb hard. So I don't know if I'm going to play it anymore because it made me mad. And now I'm just kind of fed up.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I saw it pop up that you're playing. I was like, oh, okay. I thought he beat it, but whatever. Cool.
I did beat it. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Of course, playing Destiny. Just kind of messing around more than anything. Just seeing what's out there and tried for whatever reason this weekend, I went and played through the entire quest line of the Iron Banner from start to finish on one character in a day.
Wow.
And oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. My kids were laughing at me so funny because I was like, my hands were flying at the TV and I was pointing at things and I'm like, screaming and yelling. And of course they're videotaping me and, just laughing. So
that's great.
Very, very comical. That's kind of what I've been up to. So yeah.
Attached does Rage Gaming YouTube channel coming now.
Rage Gaming. If you guys don't know me, I am salty as heck when it comes to gaming. Just ask, Victus over here. I do get a little salty,
really bad,
but
like really bad.
It's a comical salty, and out of all of our gaming friends, Victus here knows the buttons to push to just like add the salt. But I think it's a good mix. So I typically I don't think I've ever rage quit a game, but I've definitely I'm a pot stirrer when it comes to.
Got him pretty close though. I've got him like really close.
He has got me close before when it comes to playing competitive and the hard mode and PvP stuff. I get pretty intense. So
I think we need to talk about some of our topics that I kind of mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I think you talked a little bit about Doom Guy and that game. Yeah, so we probably should jump into our gaming topics section of the podcast and talk about Doom Eternal, brand new, just released.
Brand new. I picked that up like on release day because I
release day.
Say what?
Release day. That was a definite pickup on release day.
Release day pickup Doom Eternal. Oh man, so good. So good. It takes everything of Doom, and if you love Doom, and it cranks it up to an 11 with just faster pace,
it goes to 11.
more good story to build on. like I didn't find myself going after the lore in the original Doom, but man, I was looking for every single lore piece to piece together, and it all all fit. Like you wanted to know who is Doom Guy, why is he here, who are
the story in this one is so good.
Yeah,
the biggest difference that I really see, one, you said the intensity, and the intensity is really upped. The original Doom back like 2015, 2016 was good, hardcore, super intense. This one is nowhere near as dark. This one doesn't have as dark a feel to it in general, but the intensity of the gameplay and that need to just know the story, they've done a good job with the story and kind of left that mystery to be figured out. That piece is cool to me.
Yeah, there was a different, like you're mentioning the darkness of it, because we go to Mars in Doom, and you're basically the only one alive on Mars except for the mechanical doctor himself and the protagonist. I get this protagonist because you're the antagonist, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I get this mixed up. But the protagonist, which there's actually ends up being two of them, spoiler alert. So because you're the only one alive, so you're just fighting demons by yourself. But in Doom Eternal, you're back on Earth. 60% of the world's population is just gone. Because
decimated, gone.
The rest are about to be wiped out or being wiped out at this time because of the demonic invasion has happened on Earth. They are consuming everyone to feed the demonic world. So that's kind of where you come in. How you survive and get to where you are, it still doesn't say. But even from the get-go, you immediately start getting weapons. And I played on the medium difficulty, and man, that was still kind of rough at times. Like I had to restart the game several times, or restart my save, I should say. And I can't imagine those people that go through and play the one life game.
Oh, the hardcore mode, like one and done, and then you start at the beginning. You're like, what? Seriously?
And I'm pretty sure the difficulty is nightmare. So nightmare plus only one life. Oh my.
Yeah. Bonkers. I started around the mid range as well. Normal or medium, difficult, whatever it is.
Yeah. Yep. That one played nice. I ended up beating it and then going back through and reconnecting all the lore that I somehow missed or just understand everything. Cause there's, already lore videos out there from several YouTubers. One I've already picked up and I recommend you go watch. If you don't know the backstory of Doom, is My Name is Bife. He's starting to release lore videos for it. So
excellently done as well.
Excellent.
Bife is the lore guy. So
he's the lore guy.
He does an amazing job at his videos. The one thing that I was really kind of disappointed with from the game standpoint is the story timing, just the amount of time of the story. It was fairly short. I think it's only got a 15-hour campaign, and I wanted more after everything was said and done. It even though it wrapped up really well and the story came to a good close, I wanted more of what they were portraying. It just went by too fast.
Yeah, I can see that. And that's an accurate statement of my playthrough as well. I think mine hit about 20 hours or so. What does Steam say? Or did I already uninstall it? But 22 hours. So 22 hours of gameplay in Doom Eternal. And that was me looking decently for collectibles, upgradables, anything that I need to either make my character more powerful, just the collectible aspect. I don't think I looked at the map once for that stuff. It just happened to be like, oh, I see that over there. Let's go get it.
I did some of that as well. I did look at the map a lot though, because you're looking around. That's one thing that I did like about this one is the original Doom that came out in 2015, 2016 had a very flat style map, and this one
Yes.
is very much a platformer in terms of the puzzles and the jumping and the the new modes of being able to transport yourself around the map. There's a lot of different things that you can do as far as climbing and jumping and shuffling and all kinds of new little goodies that you get.
Yes. I completely agree with that statement. The map was so much better, and the like you were alluding to, the parkour in Doom Eternal is wrapped. It also is ramped up to 11, and your ability to parkour is that much better because of the grav lifts included, your mobility because of your tools, especially once you get the super shotgun with the grappling hook. Let's just call it what it is.
That's a game.
Grappling hook.
Yeah, definitely was my favorite weapon of the game, was the super shot.
Oh, for sure. Yes, there's BFGs. Yes, there's railguns, but super shotgun reigns supreme. And also, once you get that thing upgraded to where automatically catches demons on fire when you grapple them, so they drop armor, you just become kind of OP because you just kind of keep frogging from one demon to the next, killing them, and you just never run out of armor because they just keep dying.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of cool things you can do. There were some pretty hard matches. I found myself dying a lot because I was getting impatient. So I would get frustrated. I would get impatient. I would try to do something silly and just find myself, dying a lot.
Yeah. And I can just say right now that Marauders, I don't know why they're in the game. They are
worst enemy ever invented. Like, hey, let me design this enemy that by the way, he's going to stun lock you, and you only have a specific amount of time to shoot him, but you're stun locked, so you can't. And you got to wait till his eyes turn green to be able to shoot him.
And that eye shooting green is 0.1 milliseconds. So get ready.
Right, but you're stun locked while you do it, so you're like, never mind, can't shoot you.
Can't shoot you. And my health's gone.
So bad.
Yeah. So, and his bullet sponge, you just shot. Gosh. You made sure you shot all your super shotgun into him and didn't miss a shot. Oh, no, that didn't kill him. Oh, all rocket? No, that didn't kill him.
I'm pretty sure that id Games decided to go, hey, let's get a bunch of interns in here and some new fresh blood. And they said, let's think of some new ideas. And one of them just got super excited and said, well, let's create this Marauder guy, and we'll make him where he's got a 0.6 second hitbox, but he's going to stun lock you every 5.
Yeah.
So
those matches, every time I went against him, I was super cheese about it. What would I do? Oh, he would just run around. I would run around in circles the entire time. And because in these battles, you always have a lesser demon spawn that you can constantly get health from, well, I just continually farmed them to keep it up. And then I just continually drop bombs at his feet. I didn't need any window to do. And yes, I ran out of ammo more than most people would have. But hey,
I ran out of ammo all the time.
Yeah. So I saw for a while.
Good stuff.
I don't know why you put the Marauder.
No.
But besides that guy,
definitely,
Doom Eternal is if you like FPS, fast pace, rip and tear of any Doom ever, it is a great play. And the replayability is there because of different difficulties to go through them. You can really test yourself. And let's say you didn't get all the collectibles like I did. Well, then you can go back and replay the missions.
Yeah, definitely worth buying. So, and I thought this was kind of cool too. I pulled some stats just from launch day, and on Steam for launch day, Doom Eternal had over 100,000 concurrent users that day, which was more than double than the original Doom that came out in 2016. It's crazy.
Yes. Yep. What was interesting is that you can kind of see the shift of everybody getting physical games to digital games. Physical sales were down 33%. compared to the Doom.
Well, and so this is a good little segue too. So the only game that outdid Doom Eternal on the charts in UK was Animal Crossing's New Horizons, which is what we're going to be talking about next.
Yep.
I thought that was funny.
Yep. The interesting and somehow happened to be pairing of two completely different universes spawned Doom Guy teaming up with Isabella to either plant a garden or rip and tear demons across the demonic homeworld.
Hey, I'm sure Isabella could do some damage to it. I mean, she could take that gardening spade, and let me tell you, she would go to town.
Yeah, there has been so many arts you can look up. There is memes and GIFs and all of them out there that are pretty fantastic about the pairing of those two. And also the communities behind them have completely jumped on board with it as well, which has been fantastic.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch.
But yeah, so like we were mentioning, Animal Crossing New Horizon released at the exact same day as Doom Eternal. So that, basically helped start a synergy between the two. But it is the polar opposite. It is you start on an island and you are a human that is basically everybody else is an animal. But they talk to you.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by animals and you go and you fish and you farm and you collect things.
Well, and for anybody who has not played Animal Crossing ever, this is not the first game of Animal Crossing that's ever come out either. There have been a lot of other Animal Crossings. In fact, almost one for every system that Nintendo made back in the day as well. There's been a lot of versions of Animal Crossing that came out. This is just the newest iteration.
Yes. And that's why it's also so hyped up and rightfully so. It's been a huge hit across, watching people play across the Twitterverse, the
massive
Twitch streams, everywhere, YouTube videos, all of them, people, joining up on the same islands, to go out and do all the really relaxing things of Animal Crossing.
Well, and you said that, this is one of those games that it's not intense. You can just kind of get in and chill out. And it's more of like a chore-based social game. So you, like you said, hop in with, your buddies, your friends, go in and build things, do chores, and just kind of chill out and have fun. That's what this game's all about. So we thought we'd throw a little mix in here because we usually talk about all the serious games. It's been a while since we've had just kind of a fun, not really intense game to talk about. This is just one of those out there. I have not picked the game up yet, but it's one of those that is on the list to grab because my kids want it. So, I got to do that
Nice.
dad thing.
And it really couldn't. The two games are polar opposite each other's. And, referencing back to Doom Eternal one more time, I've saw articles pop up when it hit. Because of what the world is going through right now, the article was titled Doom Eternal, Rip and Tearing of Demons has been the therapy we need right now.
That's funny.
Or you have the polar opposite of people that get relaxed by going in Animal Crossing New Horizon. And, just feeling a relaxed game, they can put it down at any time, and just go from there. And hopefully not get stressed because they can't find or fish that certain particular fish that they need to continue. I've seen some pretty raging tweets go out because of it.
That's been a big meme across the interwebs is the I can't find this fish, and people are raging over it. So
and then raging at other people because that person has 5 of those fish. And yeah, that is the what you come into with Animal Crossing with the newest one. I think both the games have been getting like fantastic reviews on all platforms. that review games.
This newest one, I mean, it even topped the charts for Twitch with a lot of the streamers, a lot of the big streamers, just saying, hey, we're just kind of taking a break from all the intensity and the grind from these other games. I think, they're just like anybody. They want something just to chill out with as well. And Animal Crossing's a good, fun game just to kind of chill out and not really have to worry about the completion tasks and what you're going to go grind for on weapons and armor. Just go out and have fun.
Yeah. Cool. I've seen about every streamer that I follow go out and play new Animal Crossing at one time in the past 3 weeks or so since its release.
Yeah, definitely.
But I would say from now, again, I haven't played it, but from those playing it that I've watched and going after, I have not heard a single negative thing besides everybody hates Tom Nook, the person that put you in debt for your island. I have not heard a single negative thing about Animal Crossing and only heard great things about what they did with the game. So we're going to put it on a recommend to buy list.
Oh, absolutely. It will definitely go on my backlog list for sure. Seems to be where all my games go lately is I purchase something and they go right to my backlog.
You just need to stop playing that hardcore on the long dark and get your backlog.
Yeah. Now, something outside of the norm. We have typically not talked about horror-based games on the channel very often, but one of the most popular kind of thriller horror-based games that was released years ago was called Silent Hill. I was always a big Silent Hill fan. I don't know about you, but that was one of those that just kind of made you jump and, get the heebie-jeebies as you were playing.
Yeah, and I tend to avoid those games because I couldn't play, could not get through them.
Yeah, I enjoyed the jump scares, but it's funny because this is something that the fans have asked for a long time. And back in January, there was a leak that came across a Twitter account for a new Silent Hill game that was being put into the works. Now, with that being said, the Twitterverse went bonkers with it for a little while. And then it just kind of went completely dead. I saw it when it first came out, got kind of excited, haven't really put a lot of thought into it. And I was just kind of browsing through all the different news channels for what we wanted to talk about. And I saw this come up from Konami, who is the developer originally for Silent Hill. And they came in and said, by the way, this leak that happened, not true, not going to happen. So basically, I don't know where any of the information came from. I don't know if it was, we actually got some information that Konami was going to be doing a Silent Hill game, or maybe Konami came in and said, nope, we gotta ixnay the project, or maybe this is just a publicity stunt saying, it's not really there, just to kind of deflect information, but they are going to be making something. I don't know. If they would make it, I'm sure the fans would be freaking excited, and I know I would. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I've randomly kept up with the Silent Hill community, but I didn't know this, so that would be huge. And coming from Konami, though, I've never known him to be a like, hey, this is not true, but then it ends up being true later, unless he didn't know it was going to be true later.
Right. I have seen that happen before.
So unfortunately, I'm going to go with it's not going to happen. Unless we've seen it before where there is such a outcry that this needs to happen. The dollar bills kind of happen on the business and they're like, let's do it. So maybe.
Well, and
now no.
Konami said, look, it's just a no, but there were other rumors from Sony that Sony was going to purchase some properties from Konami, being Metal Gear, Castlevania, and Silent Hill. But I don't know. So Sony and Kojima came in and said, look, they're the firm, and our official response back from Konami is that these are all rumors and they aren't true. But who knows? We could see something 6 months from now that maybe sparked an idea and somebody starts something.
Maybe. Yeah. Let's see. So there was this point of Silent Hill, and a interesting thing that has happened with Minecraft. With and I didn't know the whole details about it because I've seen articles come across where they've released like educational content for Minecraft.
Right. There is an educational version of Minecraft that some schools actually used, which is cool.
Yeah. I from the like when I go look up recipes for things I'm trying to create or trying to find how it works in the Minecraft world, there was a couple things that mentioned a Minecraft educational. I never actually delved into it, but it's pretty cool what, through Minecraft, a game that's, what is it going on 15 years old or so?
15 plus. Almost,
no, actually 11, yeah. 11 initial release date.
Okay,
so
11.
Well, if you want to count like alpha and betas, but let's go with release date. So 11 years old.
Yeah.
11 years old. But still, they're adding stuff, trying to make it relevant and bringing it in the classroom, which is super cool. Teaching kids how to, space, how to code, exploring landmarks, which is super cool, which probably plays into an interesting article I read. Is part of this, people have gone into libraries that has been created with this to include books and stuff in these libraries that are educational but are blocked via certain governments, internet service providers. So if you were to look up, so if you try to look up the content outside of the game, their internet service provider would block it. But they've gotten around this by including this educational content inside of Minecraft. Yeah,
for whatever reason, the the blacklisted content apparently didn't get blacklisted in this one. So I guess caution to the wise on that one. But kind of cool. All because of the coronavirus and the different outbreaks that are going on, and all the schools that are shut down, all the kids that are now at the house. I think it's cool because Microsoft is, they've released different lessons on their marketplace, and those lessons are free within this educational version of Minecraft. I mean, they're talking about being able to go in and look at specific landmarks that they've rebuilt inside of Minecraft. And like you said, code, interact and do robotics. I mean, it's just ridiculous what we can do with technology now.
And it's really just awesome that they're using Minecraft, one that is basically in every household today that has an internet connection or some type of gaming apparatus, or even on the phones. It'd be hard pressed to find somebody that doesn't know about Minecraft. So getting this introduced is really awesome. Really awesome for them. And like you said, it's free. You can go out and get the marketplace content for each day. And you'll be able to download through June 30th.
Yep.
Which is awesome. That.
Unless they extend that. If something happens with the extension on the whole coronavirus social distancing, which I even think the president announced something today that they're going to go past the initial April 30th date now.
I think they were extending to April 30th from April 17th.
Okay. It was to April 30th, and that's what I saw.
Yeah. So he's extending the CDC guidelines to April 30th. So
we're practicing social distancing by about a 22-hour drive right now.
About a 22-hour drive. Yes. Yep. Yeah. We are only spitting into our mics right now instead of across from each other.
Yep. I think social distancing is working for us right now. So,
and all you're listening right now.
That's good. For all you guys listening. Yeah. We're social distancing with you as well.
Yes. So that wraps up our gaming topics. And now to get into film, TV, movie
film and
topics of a series that I think you recommended me into, and I finally got into because of Star Trek Discovery. I just wanted more Star Trek. Got into Picard. We're going to talk about the last 4 episodes.
So the last 4 episodes are phenomenal. They really were. So if you guys didn't know, go back and listen to the last couple of episodes of the podcast. Episode 1 kicking off this year in January, we actually followed along with Picard launching in January, and we covered the first 3 episodes, and then we covered the middle episodes. We've kind of done this little mini review of the show, and then we're finishing up now because the last episode just aired last week. So we tried to time it best we could to come out about the same time, and I'm sure a lot of people have already seen this. But if you're listening, we've said this in every episode that we've done a review for the card stuff. If you haven't seen it, because we know you binge watchers out there have been waiting till the final episode hits so that you can go through and watch all of them at once. I don't know why I don't know why you would want to do that. I couldn't wait at all. I had to press play on that first one. Yep. I had to see it. So spoilers ahead if you have waited and have not gotten to any of the episodes yet.
And you lost your chance. Okay. So episode 7. See, where did we leave off? Episode 6 was, and they all kind of blurred together.
That is one thing that this show did a really good job of, is it was basically like watching a movie that has been broken down into chapters.
Yes.
Over a period of time. Yep. It was, even though some of the episodes kind of had a filler episode to it, it was different. Now I will say towards the middle of the show, 5 and 6 really kind of had that filler episode feeling to it. They really brought the story back around with these last 4 and it really got down to kind of the nitty gritty and the meat of the story.
Yes, they did. And okay, now 6 is coming back to me, where Picard and Soji had just escaped the Borg cube, which was under Romulan control. Yes. Right. They were transported to Nepenthe, which we didn't know what that world was, but it was important. That left Elnor and 9. No, not 9. Not yet. Spoilers. Left Elnor and starts with an H.
7 of 9.
Starts with an H. No, there was that one Borg that was, or recovered Borg. Q. Back on the Borg cube. Didn't know what was going to happen to him, but episode 7 takes up with return of 2 and favorite characters from
Star Trek Next Generation, actually.
Next Generation. Yeah. It was good to see them.
Yeah.
Good to see them in the show.
Yeah. These 3 really made up a big, I don't know, a lot of the Star Trek Next Generation was kind of like watching a family grow up. I mean, I grew up with the Next Generation. I was a 80s and 90s kid. So this was my Star Trek. And I loved it. Next Generation was kind of my go-to show. Couldn't wait for it to come out. I was one of those, like, all of us were in the living room waiting for the next episode to hit. So yeah, really, really seeing Picard hit that relationship again. And they come back in and see William Riker and Deanna Troi. If you guys don't know who they are, then I don't know why you're still listening, because you need to go watch the show and figure them out. Yep. So William Riker, of course, is Commander Riker. He was Picard's right-hand man, second command to the Enterprise. And then Deanna Troi was actually the ship's counselor on Star Trek Next Generation. William Riker and her are married, of course, and now have a kid together. Yeah, it was really cool to see that reunion. It was kind of like watching the old times. The nostalgia came in. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, and see, William Riker, the actor that plays him, Jonathan Frakes.
I cannot think of his name. Yeah, William Franks.
Yep, William Franks.
Or Jonathan. Is it Jonathan Frakes?
Jonathan.
Yeah.
He does such a good job with the character and being a now retired retired character of the Star Trek universe. The way he portrays it is so good. So good with that. And probably was my favorite was just to listen to him talk and talk and go over things and how he in certain situations sets Picard in his place because he was one of his dearest friends. Picard was the captain. William Riker was the commander of the Enterprise. And so they, by that, had a very close bond there. But all through that, they were, like family, like you said, on there. And just, there was no longer the William Riker taking order. There was William Riker setting Picard straight of certain things he was doing, which was quite the change of what we've come to be used to. And then this is what Picard, the Star Trek Picard series, or these episodes have been doing. They've been showing a Picard that's not so always stoic, knows the right decisions to make, is captain all the time. So it was really good to see that.
Yeah. This one definitely portrays a very much more vulnerable Picard.
Yes.
He's weaker from a physical standpoint because he's old as dirt, and mentally he's still extremely smart. He still is witty and has that, like you said, that stoic, commanding presence to him. But there's this, I don't know, it's this question that he has, he's not quite sure about himself anymore. And I think the show did a good job of just kind of portraying that question of needing other people around him. He knows he can't do it by himself. Episode 7 did a good job of really showing that vulnerability.
Yep.
So the whole entire episode takes place basically here on this planet of Nepenthe, and it's at William Riker and Deanna Troy's house, of all things.
The retirement house.
Their retirement house. William has become a baker and cook, and they live in the country and they garden for a living.
Yep.
They're just enjoying life. So the one thing Riker did say is there was a scene where Picard and him are sitting on a bench over by the lake, just kind of enjoying a chat. And Riker does mention that he is still on active reserve for Starfleet. Yep. But it's only for specific things, and I guess emergencies if ever needed.
Yeah. It was that was good to watch that through. And then Deanna Troi coming in with, she immediately knows all the answers of everything that's going on, from Picard's problems to the situation he's in right now. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but she is a complete mind reader.
She's a betazoid,
right?
So
I don't know if they can read all the thoughts.
I honestly don't remember if they have full ability to read the mind, or if it's only certain. There's like an emotional thought that comes behind certain things, and they can sense it and understand those. That's what I think it is, but I can't remember. You're researching, aren't you?
I am researching. I am absolutely researching because partial telepathic. That's what I needed now. Okay.
Yeah, partial.
So, but even through that, she was able to immediately know that, well, his problem is terminal or actually I'm inferring that took place because of her affection and sadness that immediately took place when she saw and was able to form a connection with Picard when they got to the farm. And then from there, she was just like what we saw on Next Generation, where she holds the point of therapist for a long time, but there's periods where she has to let that fall and set Picard again, put Picard in his place of areas that he can no longer treat as just a captain, but he has to treat differently, because we see in this episode Soji handling the realization that she is an android.
Yeah.
And Picard trying his spoiler. We called that. And Picard trying to form a connection with her because of wanting to protect her and also in remembrance of her sister. So you see the first hardships happening there and going through all that. But it was honestly, out of all of them, this was probably my favorite episode, including the final three.
Yeah, this one was definitely my favorite just because of the nostalgia aspect and seeing that kind of family bond that they had.
Yeah. So they finally leave the planet and move on to episode 8, which episode 8, and on that, it was another filler. It was a filler for story's sake because the story hadn't covered this mystery that we were wondering about.
Yeah, it definitely had the filler aspect to it, though. I don't know. This one drug on for me a little bit.
I agree.
The only thing that I really liked about this one is they explained that flashback and what people were seeing from that planet side with the suns and what Narissa was seeing when I can't even think of the Commander O. Yeah, it was Commander O.
Yep.
Yeah. So Commander O did the Romulan like premonition thing with her where she can basically input a memory into her brain and show her a vision.
Yep.
So she showed her this vision of what was going to happen with the synths and just the destruction that was going to come with it. So she ends up kind of going bonkers because of this. So they explain that. They kind of understand from a standpoint of what this premonition or admonition was and what it was really for. That was the only thing that I really got out of it, though, except for the very ending where Rios finally understood what his captain did.
Yep.
Rios in the earlier episodes came back and said, look, I'm never going to serve under another Starfleet captain and watch him die. But yet he's, attaching himself to Picard because Picard is Picard. He's very persuasive. And Rios is coming along with him. And Rios finally figures out what happened with this captain, this Vandermeer that he was part of. And there was a couple of people there at the very ending. So him and Rafi are sitting there. And if you remember, they were talking about the old pictures that they saw. And Rios goes, man, she being Soji, he's like, Soji looks just like the girl that I met with Captain Vandermeer. And there was a couple of kind of outriders that they had picked up years previous when Rios was in Starfleet. And they ended up picking up a couple of synths. And Captain Vandermeer had gotten the order that he was supposed to eliminate all synthetic life, no matter who, what, when, where. And he ended up killing these synthetics on a Starfleet ship. And then he ended up killing himself. And that's what Rios witnessed. And that's kind of what drove Rios away from Starfleet and kind of made him go to the drinking life and kind of that rebel captain lifestyle that he's got now. Yep. And that's really what that whole episode did. But it took so long to explain what like one sentence could have said.
Right. There was a lot in that episode that did not need to be there. It was just a whole lot. For one, and spoiler, the first part where we're seeing the flashback of the Zhat Vash and seeing them all experience the admonition, at least that's what the Romulans call it. We get a interpretation of what they think it is, where it's a warning of a civilization, an ancient civilization that is no longer in the universe, saying synthetic life will cause destruction on a galactic scale. And that's where the Tarshial, I had it in my head, I'm going to say it, the secret militaristic arm of the Romulan force, where they're so obsessed with removing all synthetic life in the universe, comes from. So it was good to see that, but overall, this episode was a filler. That there's a lot of stuff in it that I was ready to get the next episode. So
yeah, at the ending of it, all of us, as we were sitting in our living room, my kids, my wife, we all just kind of looked at one another and went, that was it. It was kind of disappointing. We're like, okay, we want next week's episode, but that's been the bad thing. Is it's a weekly show, and it seems like it takes a really long time for those exact 7 days to go by, even though the time doesn't change. Man, does it seem like a long time for that show to get here. And now we got to wait for season 2, and that's going to be a long time.
Yep. Hey, 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right. Thought I woke up.
No worries.
All right. So I put that timestamp in there just so you get a quick reference of where you need to top it.
So I did a quick little like clear my throat, and I've got a spike to know where it's at.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah, I've got a timestamp in my audition. It's just a tad bit past an hour.
Okay. Yep. All right. You just referenced season 2. We were wrapping up episode 8.
Yeah, we're ready for episode 9 and 10.
Okay. So yeah, with that filler episode of episode 8, I was looking really forward to episode 9 because I knew from the titles that we saw going into it, it was going to be a 2-part episode to finish out the season. And it got right back on track with the story. You know, we're back with Picard, with his entire team. They've, because of Soji using her abilities to figure out they could use the old Borg trans tunnel system to get there faster and before the Romulans to warn Soji's planet. They get there and you know, they're trying to contact or trying to contact the world, the people there. But then they are followed by none other than Narek. really guy that you started to hate since like episode 5,
I
6?
would say I would say about 4 or 5 for me.
Yeah.
There was just something always off about him. And the main thing for me, the weird eye that he's got, like when he's looking directly at you, he's got one eye that kind of shifts, like, you're shady, man. There's something wrong. I'm not sure which way you're looking. And I don't know if you're looking at me with your left eye or right eye, or you got something you're peeking at. He was just a shady character.
Right. And they were, they immediately got into kind of a dogfight with Derek's ship. And then you thought, okay, well, they were going to win the day because none other than the Borg cube, unquote, artifact comes through the portal, starts powering up weapons because you're like, all right, well, Derek's dead. We can move on from here. Whatever, she's got firepower because we know Nine's piloting that Borg cube. And then they end up crash the planet. Whatever forces were down there had some flowers.
The orchids.
Yeah. What?
The orchids that Soji always talked about in her dreams, that Narek finally found out what was all about. They were apparently are some type of planetary defense mechanism that gets launched out. They are giant space flying orchid flowers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they were able to.
That was very Star Trek-ish. Very Star Trek-ish.
It's just like, huh? But apparently those things were able to pull down a ship and an entire Borg cube down the planet's surface. So, and that's when, by all that, the people of Picard's crew end up meeting the only settlement on the planet which is inhabited by what you think at the time is all synthetics or androids. Entire village full of them. But none other than, I was like, when he walked out, I was like, oh, old Data.
Yeah, Dr. Soong.
Dr. Soong. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so this basically Data's brother. Yeah. Because he's the son of Data's creator, Noonien Soong.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was a really cool tie-in. I like how they did it.
Yep. See, from there, then they ended up capturing Narek. And then Soji's sister, but more of the sister that was killed via Rios' old captain, does the Vulcan mind meld to Soji to see, not Soji, the doctor, to experience this admonition.
Yeah,
that the doctor saw, which finally revealed to us what the actual admonition was.
Yeah, basically this unleashing of the what did they call it? What were they calling Soji? She was going to become the
destroyer.
The destroyer. Yes.
Yep.
Now they never really went into detail of, if she was going to transform into something or if it was just kind of the path that she took. And to me, at the very end of everything, once you kind of see what happens at the end of it, to me, it was, even though she's a synthetic, she still has free will. She still has a choice. And she could either choose to become what everybody was telling her that she was going to, or she could choose her own path and she could make her own destiny and she could make her own choices. And to me, that's what really set the very last episode apart and made it kind of that home run for me anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. The one part that keeps happening across it is they are not capitalizing on Seven's character. Like there's some really strong points when we first see her where we see some emotion, some depth of the character to it, but she continually is like this throwaway character. Seven gets there, brings the Borg cube, and they have a quick chat with her, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's a good term. I didn't read this article that I saw. It was something over on IGN a few weeks back, and it was kind of a behind the scenes with the actress that plays Seven of Nine. And she talked about how hard it was getting back in character after being away for so long. So maybe that had something to do with it, or maybe it's just the way the writers have kind of envisioned her character. I do hope that they use her more. She was always kind of a favorite in the Star Trek realm. So I hope they use her more, and I hope it's like you said. I hope she's not just a throwaway character for a quick little scene here or there. I hope she kind of becomes part of that crew and sticks with it.
Seems like she will be part of the crew from what we see in the final episode. But that was my big disappointment with all of Picard is every time we get to see her shine as a character, it never comes to fruition. There were some cool things where she decided, albeit almost too quickly, to temporarily become a Borg queen to reactivate the Borg cube and try to bring all the Borg back online to fight off the Romulans. Unfortunately, all the Borgs that were in stasis were jettisoned. There was just different things, and that's some of the scrutiny that's come to Picard is some of the writing that has taken place is, you can almost use the word sloppy. Some decisions that are made too quick or not smartly. So that has been my one takeaway with Picard.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think the two big hits on the show that I've got for it are one, like you said, a little bit of sloppy writing. There's some filler episodes and things that they didn't do a good job tying together. And two, it really, really that we are now in 2020 making a Star Trek Next Generation spawn of a show, because anything and everything that we see in modern day media has infiltrated everything that we know in Star Trek. I mean, this is like the TVMA version of, a Star Trek show. So that's been a little funny to get used to as well. Everything from, smoking to drinking. Not that it wasn't present in the previous. It's just, it's more of a front runner in the things that we see. So a lot more hardcore. Yeah. Plus there's tons of language. That was kind of funny to see, people dropping F-bombs left and right in the show. And, you just kind of, it makes you tilt your head a little bit. You're like, I don't remember Starfleet being that way. But yeah, so just a couple of little hits, and it's not major things, but it's a little worrisome as the show grows in age and we get later down into the series. Will the writers and the director pull that story in tighter to continue something that they're building a good foundation for, or will it become the next 90s? Let's run it 7-8 seasons, and only 10% of the show is actually worth watching because the rest of it was filler. And that's really my fear is the Star Trek Next Generation. Did it have its filler moments? Yeah, it sure did. But it was also one of the best Star Trek shows that we've had. And there's tons of material and lots of lore and canon that goes into that show. And just the fan base that show brought to Star Trek, it came back for this because, oh my gosh, Picard was returning after all these years. So all those original fans came back, and that's kind of been the biggest knock from the fans is it wasn't quite what they were expecting, but still it is one of the best shows that I've seen in a while from a Star Trek standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah. And we still got one episode talking about, but we'll see how they because they basically wrapped up the entirety of the story in episode 10. So going into next season, which they've already approved for, we'll see what they do with getting better writing on the stories, and hopefully allow those actors to really shine in those characters that were not done a justice in season 1 of Picard. But we should talk about the last episode 10. It picks up right after the part 1, which is episode 9, where basically the synths have locked up and kicked out all of the humans except for the doctor that's been covering Picard's team and Dr. Song to continue helping the synthetics. But they learn that the admission is a call to a welcoming call, a come home call to all synthetic life in the universe to say, when you are ready, we are here and we will help you from this advanced synthetic life of who created it.
Right.
So they're trying to build this beacon to call the synthetics or whatever it may be. So,
and ultimately it basically becomes a saving point for synthetic life, but kind of became doomsday for all other creation.
Yeah, basically everybody else, because it was the understanding that if this advanced, whatever the synthetic life was, came to help a synthetic, they would wipe out all non-synthetic life in that said universe. So
all organic life was basically on the hit list at that point.
Yeah. So there was that. Overall, this was, I think it was a good episode. You had a lot of action happen, and conflict of Picard again risking his life to go out and try to, in a single ship, he becomes captain and pilot all at one time.
Yep.
Yes.
He takes on a Romulan fleet, and this wasn't like 10 or 15 ships. This was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Romulan warbirds that were on attack for the planet. So the planet name we're talking about is Capilius. That is Soji's homeworld, where Soong created all these different synthetic lives. And the one thing that I had a knock on for this episode is when I first started watching it, it just seemed to jump around a little bit in the very beginning of the story, where it seemed like they were trying to rush to get to the end. They did a good job of bringing everything together, but as Picard is coming up against these Romulan birds, this Romulan fleet, the story kind of tied in together. In the back of my mind, I'm sitting here thinking, all right, so they are getting ready to go up against, hundreds of these Romulan ships that will just annihilate them in seconds. And the show's been approved for a second season. So I'm thinking, okay, this is really going to suck because they're probably going to pass the baton. Picard, and this is just the way my brain is working, right? Like they're showing older people from Star Trek Next Generation, like Riker was in here. Deanna Troi was in here. Data was in here as well. And they're passing the baton, and there's going to be this new creation of people, and Picard's going to die. And that's just the way my brain was working, right? And I disconnected from the show for about 10 minutes. I'm like, all right, this sucks. I don't watch it anymore. Yeah. But then there was a turn that happened. Like something changed in what they did in the show. And that was the whole Star Trek Next Generation flare happened as soon as Captain Riker responded to Picard's original call for aid for Starfleet. That message finally went through, and on screen, you see Picard sitting in this ship by himself with his crew, a couple of people. all these Romulan, starships sitting around him, and here comes Starfleet. They're piling their ships in, thousands of them, and they're all commanded by Will Riker.
Yep.
Because he went back on active duty. He's a captain, and I don't remember the name of the starship that he was in, but he said it was the fastest, most powerful starship that the Starfleet had ever created. That's pretty impressive.
Yes.
Just seeing what the Enterprise D and E was capable of doing. I mean, that was a galaxy-based starship. I'm not sure what this one was classified as, but if it was anything like the Enterprise, the armament and weapon capability and just tracking capability of those ships was ridiculous. So I can only imagine what Riker had at his fingertips, ready to just blow the smithereens out of the Romulans.
Yeah. And which, going into that part of the episode, Picard kept showing his faith that Starfleet was going to show up. But we had no confirmation as a viewer that they actually received the message that they were going to honor his diplomatic ability to enforce first contact negotiations with the civilization, with the synthetics, because in doing so, put him under the direct protection of Starfleet, and thereby, gave Starfleet full authority of over the planet or in that area. So it was
it became protected space. I mean, like that became Starfleet territory at that point. So just the Romulans being there was a violation of treaty and an act of war at that point.
Yep.
So yeah, that piece was very cool. And just the fact that Will Riker's character saying everything inside me just wants to go on ahead and say, yeah, let's just hit you with everything we got. Because I mean, he had an entire fleet of ships just armed, ready, and he was willing just to hit the fire button and take them out. But he gave him one chance. He gave him one chance to stand down.
Yeah. And that's what it is I was expecting him to stand down right there, and they didn't. They're like, nope. They're going to sit there and they're going to like blast it out old Western style, but with spaceships right there above this planet. And then, of course, Picard had to have a moment with Soji about powering down the beacon, and she did. She destroyed it because it became fully operational and opened the portal to wherever these synthetics were. And apparently there are a whole bunch of mechanical tentacle things.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what that was. It was like something that was out of the Matrix. It really reminded me of the
absolutely did
creatures out of the Matrix. Yeah. So it was a little odd, but yeah, I wasn't quite sure how that would play in. I didn't know if maybe that was going to be what they called the destroyer, and it was because of Soji that thing came in. But anyways, the beacon overall was destroyed and that portal was closed. So who knows if we'll ever see that thing again or if it's just done.
So that ship's name was the USS Zhenghe.
Zhenghe, yes.
Zhenghe, and which is named after Chinese mariner, explorer, diplomat, fleet admiral during the early Ming Dynasty is what it was named after. But that was the name of that ship that Commander acting Captain Will Riker commanded during that standoff.
Did it say what class that ship was?
It doesn't say. Nope, does not say. We'll probably find it once they dig into the details. The Trekkies out there tear apart all the specifics about the ship.
Yeah, that stuff was it's going to go into lore books and so Trekkies are an interesting breed. They are engineers and like all the science stuff that goes into this kind of they just eat that for lunch. So
yep.
In fact, I to this day still have a Star Trek Enterprise D schematics book. It's basically a schematics engineering encyclopedia that was created specifically for the Star Trek Enterprise D, and it breaks every floor, every capsule down to the engineering specs, how it was created, what it was for, the sizing, the measurements. Yeah, super nerd stuff.
Nerd.
Big nerd alert.
I have some of those books for the Star Wars universe. So, but I expect those to come out once we, as with anything, once you introduce a new ship, especially if one that could be popular in the universe or even halfway mentioned, it'll be broken down and we get to find out all about it. Because it's the most powerful, which the Enterprise was there for a while during the time, usually is the flagship. Or at least whatever ship has the designation as Enterprise is the flagship and usually the most powerful. So we'll see. And the episode ends with everybody happy dory. Synthetics are saved. They broke the beacon, drove the evil synthetics back to their universe, whatever it was. Romulans went home with the tail tucked between their legs, and Picard dies. So that was the end of the episode right there. Yep. And so, no, I saw this coming. I did. I saw the whole, okay, he died, but then they mentioned it enough about this golem that Song was working on. I was like, yeah, it's not for him.
Right.
It's 100% not for him.
Yeah. I did see a little bit of how this was coming. I liked the ending of it. I won't lie. There was a little tear forming for Picard there at the end because, it really was, this is kind of an end of an era. Not that we didn't get a good send off for Picard in The Next Generation, because we did, but he has been Captain Jean-Luc Picard for a long, long time. And, I think the end of the show really well, the kind of the genetics disease that he has for his brain, overtook him in the show. He finally died because of that. So his physical body died, but Dr. Soong brought him back as a synthetic, which is I kind of saw coming. It was a cool little twist. I did like what they did with it. So again, kind of that passing of a baton, but still keeping some of the old school flair to it.
Yep. So,
and I did like what they did with Data. That was a good send off.
That was a great send off for Data, about where he's basically saying he no longer wants to be immortal. He wants to have mortality come on him, because apparently he's been kept alive in this quantum matrix.
So basically all of his neurons that were part of his positronic brain from the Star Trek world, they found and basically kept that alive. And I don't know, from a robotic standpoint, I mean, Data was striving to be human pretty much through the entire show of Star Trek Next Generation. And he said it best at the very end. He said, death gives you the ability to, or what was it? Mortality gives you identity.
Yep.
That's just kind of a powerful statement. Data did. He had an identity, and he was done. Like he wanted to pass on physically, and he wanted that mortality. He wanted to be, remembered for the legacy that he had created, and not just be some, piece of software that somebody had plugged into a jump drive. So yeah, I like what they did there. It was good. That was very Star Trek Next Generation-esque at the very end.
Yes. So it was good to see that send off, and we saw it come in with the Golem. So Picard's still alive, though he's now an android and synthetic for all intents and purposes, because they use the Golem to recreate him, and implant his memories from the scan they did on his brain right before he died. But he's not immortal. He's not a young Picard. He's still an old Picard, and they set into that he will, in a term, shut down at what they predicted to be his actual natural death age.
Right. Without the genetics, like he doesn't have the genetics disease anymore. They didn't.
Yeah, he doesn't have the genetics disease. But he also doesn't have superpowers of being an android. You know, the ultra fast thinking ability to hold all the data that Soji has, fast or jump really high or anything like that. So he acts just like he would with his body. So,
yep, he is just Picard.
That's where we see him. We see everybody back on Rios' ship, including now Seven, is on the ship, which is another thing. Like, okay, you crash the entirety of the Borg cube, and it just kind of, it's just going to sit there. I thought they were trying to get it back airborne again.
I was too, but I guess they abandoned that whole idea. So who knows? Maybe we'll see the Borg later on. Still a thing. I mean, their queen is gone. Most of the Borg that we know of is gone. So who knows?
Yeah. We'll see in season 2, which I don't even know if they put a release date on it yet with everything that's going on.
I don't think they've got any dates or anything. A lot of things are just on hold right now. They did go on ahead and say that it was approved and renewed for a season 2, that everybody that was on has already signed their contracts and stuff to come back.
Yep.
Which is
no
cool.
Date. It's just been confirmed, and that's it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, this is a great little segue into our tech series, and this one has taken us back a little bit because these two monsters have been in a war together for a long time. That is Microsoft and PlayStation with their Xbox and PlayStation 5. Sony has done an amazing job with their product, and so has Microsoft. And I don't know. I think we're getting ready to see a big change with the way consoles come out, because these specs that these suckers have are pretty impressive.
They're bonkers.
We're talking top end gaming PC specs with what these consoles are pushing out. So just to kick everything off, we'll talk about the Xbox Series X first. And again, both of these systems, from all of the news outlets that I'm hearing, they're supposed to be ready by, what is it, fall of 2020?
Yes, holiday. Yeah, that's what they both have.
Holiday.
Yep, they're holiday of 2020. There was some rumors that Xbox and some leaks of it being out for Thanksgiving, which would put it up faster than PlayStation 5, but Microsoft came back and said that's not true. Whether that's a safe face or not, we'll see. But the entirety of what is going to happen or when the release is holiday of this year.
So yeah, holiday 2020, we've got 2 brand new gaming consoles coming out, 2 massively titan of a system coming from both these guys. No price points that I have seen yet, other than just kind of some speculation of what previous systems had come out. The Xbox One came out at about $499, and I think the PS4 came out around the same thing. So that's kind of what people are speculating. But the hardware that these things have in it, I don't know how they're going to be able to put them in at that price. It just does not seem possible to me.
Well, they work out special deals because everything that so it's not just taking the parts off the shelf and putting them in a box. They're proprietary. They're built for this system. So the example of the combination of the CPU, the GPU, the memory, and the built-in SSDs, almost all of them now are on the same board. And so because of that, there's a lot less you having to include in there. So yeah, it'd be hard to fathom that I would get a device that's as powerful as the PC, my very expensive PC sitting right next to me for less than $800-900. And like you said, they're tracking to be at about $500 to $600 worth of hardware for it.
Yeah, and I think if it comes in around that price, I mean, it doesn't matter. Honestly, I think what price these things come in at, there is such a fan base for both of these consoles. I mean, the numbers are going to be through the roof. People are going to have them on pre-order, and they're going to be in the same boat that they were, I think, with the PS4 and the Xbox One, is that people are waiting because there's so many orders coming in for it.
Yeah. But then also, unlike, maybe Sony will do this, but with Microsoft, they've already announced that there'll be different models of their series. And that's why this next console is not the Xbox. The Xbox is the brand, but this actual hardware that we're seeing, that some compared to a fridge or a bazooka or whatever it may be, is called the Series X. So there's going to be other models to come out that are going to be companions, or not companions. They're going to be, of the same family to play the next generation of games, but maybe not at potential of 8K resolution, maybe 1080p consoles, or just a stream box, or because Microsoft's able to do that. But I don't think I've read anywhere that Sony is doing anything close to that.
No, I think Sony's coming out just with the one system. Everything that I've seen, it is anyways. So
yeah, which even if they come out and continue with the really hardcore exclusives, I don't know if that will be able to hold them over. Maybe it will.
Oh, we'll see. I mean, like I said, both of them have huge fan bases. You've got the hardcore fans for Sony.
Yep.
That will never come to a Microsoft product. Yeah. They will never touch an Xbox just because it says Xbox on it. And you've also got the people out there that, hardcore Microsoft, love their Xbox. And you've got the people who, they just want all the toys. They want the Switches. They want the PlayStations. They want the Xbox. They want the gaming PC. They want they want everything. And I'm in that boat too. I love my technology. I love gaming. I love just all the things. Give me all the things. So, but I do love my Xbox as well.
Yeah. But I mean, I will be right there, and I may get both of them with this generation, which I didn't pick up the PlayStation 4.
I did
because of friend base and what was going on. But man, are these two systems, the specs on them on paper are very similar. And I say that right now, and I know the hardcore Microsoft people are like, but the GPU is so much better. The Xbox Series S. Yes, on paper it is. 100% agree. But watching the tech conference that originally was going to show in person for PlayStation, Sony ended up having a virtual conference for it. And it was a lot of very technical details about the new system. If you were able to get through it, really shows kind of a revolution that they are trying to do with their SSD to really increase those speed times on loading games. Microsoft has touted that as well. And to their point, they're installing a NVMe RAM SSD, which, if any of you out there are familiar, for hard drives, even up to the Xbox X, we have not had a solid slate, a 100% solid slate drive in our consoles yet to date. With the Xbox, to date. With the Xbox X, it is a hybrid drive, which it does help. It is a spin disk with a portion of SSD, so it's a hybrid drive. But all up and everybody else has spin disk, which is just because of the design of spin disk, and I literally mean that inside the hard drive is a spinning disk of data. Because of that, you're limited on the amount of speed you can do. Whereas with an SSD, it is but a board, and you're limited by how fast you can code electricity to that chip. And so you're seeing either iterations of PlayStation doing a custom SSD. And if you can get through and understand the technical video, it is pretty cool what they're doing. And props to Sony that on the PlayStation 5, they have said there will be a slot on the side of the box to be able to put in a M.2 SSD,
and that is an amazing feature.
Amazing feature. I was like, props to you, Sony. Good job on that. So the newest generation of SSDs look like a USB stick if you took all the plastic off of it, and just what it looks like, and you would just plug it in there and get the same speeds of their custom. Actually, no, they said it would be slower, but still, it would be bonkers fast. Xbox, Microsoft, I was like, come on, why are you guys doing this? I kind of get it. But for them, they are having, they also have an SSD, not a custom, but not to the level of what Sony did with theirs. But they're going to allow you to expand it either via the USB ports, like we've been doing for a couple generations now, where you plug in your own external hard drive, or you buy a proprietary, almost looks like a GameCube memory card SSD, and it slots in the back. But this one, I think they're coming out and starting with 1 terabyte proprietary drives with a 1 terabyte inside the device. So
yeah. And that's a lot of space to start off with. 1 terabyte is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah. I filled up my Xbox X just because I have access, you have Game Pass and all that. But honestly, if you're playing a couple games or a handful of games, or heck, 10 to 15 games, I had no problem put that on my 1 terabyte in my Xbox X. So and having that and an SSD inside the new ones is going to be just crazy.
And games aren't getting any smaller. I mean, we're seeing games of 120, 150 gig plus nowadays as well. So definitely need the extra space.
Yeah. But from there, I mean, that's really the only two things that really set them apart. Yes, the Xbox GPU is clocked at a higher ability to process calculations at 12 teraflops, and the Sony PlayStation 5 is at 10.28. 10.28. Yeah. So on paper, yes, but that's just part of the story. They'll hold that over Sony, but again, Sony's ability with what they did with the custom stuff may squeak it out with performance wise. So we'll see. It's basically the same.
Yeah,
with features.
They look very similar on paper. Now I have not seen a demo of anything from the PlayStation 5, but I did get to watch a demo of some loading times on the Series X.
Yep.
And from game to game, they loaded Forza up, and it was about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
From time of clicking the A button to the time that they were in the game, about 5 seconds. And then basically live loading a secondary game, they switched and started playing. I don't even remember what it was. But from the time that they had loaded Forza, they clicked on the home button, found their second game, hit their second game. It switched over in about 3 or 4 seconds, got everything loaded on the second game. And in the background is doing what it needs to on the first game that you loaded to shut it down in the background.
Yep.
Without you physically having to do anything inside the game. And then you can just switch back and forth between whatever game you want. And the processing speed was basically instantaneous. A little bit of load, but not like anything that we're seeing today. We've got some fairly long load times on some of the games that we see today.
Yeah, and the comparison, and that's one downside of what they did with the tech conference. Sony is they didn't show any of that. There's a lot of technical specs of how fast a game, but they didn't actually show it. Whereas with Microsoft, they've been touting that of different games. Like, okay, here's the Xbox X, so their current flagship, to the now Series X, and it was just bonkers how much faster we're going to have load times. There's going to be no more of us. All right, let's load it. Let's go grab a drink, grab some food. All right. And we're just about to get to the main menu. No, this was like they were immediately less than a minute into playing the game.
Yeah.
So for all those that have not had the pleasure of having a gaming PC, this will be huge for console gamers out there.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I mean, there's not a ton of information out here. They've only had a handful of info sessions on these things, and they do have a little bit info on some of the games that'll be launching with it. They did talk about backwards compatibility for PS4 games and Xbox One games. The Series X said that the Xbox One accessories will be compatible. One of the things that PlayStation 5 said is that the PS4 games would be on the external storage for basically their hard drive support. So I guess it is backwards compatible to a degree. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. The systems definitely look a lot different than what we're used to. They've got some different forms and features. The Xbox is basically a gaming PC tower now. They've changed the form and look of it completely. And the PlayStation 5 is something out of a sci-fi technology facility. I mean, it looks pretty crazy.
Yeah, even with that, I think what we've seen so far is just the demo and the one sent to developers so they can start developing games for it. We have yet to see what the PlayStation 5 is actually going to look like when it's sitting on the retail shelves or online to be ordered.
Yeah, what I'm referring to is that developer one that we saw.
Developer build. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a developer build. Yeah. Now we have seen the final kind of what the Xbox Series X is going to look like. It may change here or there, but I don't think it's going to be a drastic change. The PlayStation 5 could be a drastic change because right now it is kind of wild looking.
Yeah. Yes, it is for being a developer kit, which you would think that they would want to just keep that as a, albeit they could do that for reasons of cooling or anything like that. But it's going to be simplistic. It's going to a developer, so they don't care what it looks like. They just want to know how they can code games for it.
Yep. Let me code. Let me see how it functions. Let me try to burn the crap out of it and see what it can and can't do.
Yeah.
Yeah, this should be interesting. I mean, we're getting ready to push into April, so about another 5.5 months. I'm sure we'll be getting tons of demos. I'm sure there's trailers going to be launching, all kinds of stuff. I mean, we've seen things for Microsoft's a few of the games. We've seen a few previews that have come out for it. Nothing solid yet, but yep, definitely on a new horizon for console gaming. With these types of specs that are coming, could definitely be a competitor for some of the PC gamers out there.
Oh, absolutely. Being able to experience what we've had the pleasure of experiencing with PCs for a long time. Just the SSDs alone will be a complete change in the way console gaming is done.
Yeah. We've talked about the console wars for a long time, and the PC guys have always just kind of been on the outside of that because the consoles have never even come close to touching it. But these new ones, it's gonna be a close one. So definitely something I'm keeping my eye on, and we will continue to drop those news feeds as we get them and let you guys know what we find and what's up with it. So keep your ear open. I'm sure Microsoft and PlayStation and Sony and Xbox company and all of the peoples involved are trying to keep things under wraps as best as they can so that, no news leaks are coming out that shouldn't be coming out. But we'll see what happens.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, guys, that wraps up this episode for this evening. I hope you guys have had a fun time. We just want to say thank you for stopping into the show, joining us, hanging out, having fun. And we just really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for wherever you guys are. And keep on practicing that social distancing for now. That way, we don't get sick, because we appreciate you guys. So Stay healthy, stay safe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And while you guys are practicing social distancing, again, thank you guys for tuning into the podcast. All the support is greatly appreciated. The feedback, the support, all of it. Just a thank you to you all. We're just a couple of geeks that like talking about movie tech, all things geekery. And if you guys did enjoy this episode, you can subscribe to All Things Geekery podcast with any of your favorite podcasting apps. And if you go and drop us a review on iTunes or Spotify, it does greatly help the channel and our podcast grow.
Absolutely. And make sure you guys connect with us over on our social media accounts. You can find us on Twitter, and my handle is @xdetachedx. You can find Victus out there @VictusATG, and go follow our podcast account @TheATGcast. You guys can also hang out with us anytime you want over on our Discord community as well. If you guys haven't ever seen that, follow those links in the notes and make sure to subscribe. I know we've said it a few times tonight, but that really does help when you guys share the show. Drop us a review. Let us know if you have a favorite episode or anything that you guys enjoyed about tonight's episode.
Absolutely. And currently I am on break in regards to just everything going on with the coronavirus, but I do have a Twitch channel that you can go and check out the VODs with, or when I go back to being streaming some games, you can chime in to gaming content at twitch.tv/VictusATG.
Yeah. And like I said, connect with us over on our social media accounts. That is pretty much where Victus and I spend the majority of our time right now. I don't stream at all, mainly because I've got an ugly mug and you don't see that on a stream. So
he does. It's really bad.
Yeah, it's bad. But go find us. We would love to hear from you over on our social media account. We're spending a lot of time reading, chilling, and just enjoying this extra time that we've got doing different things. But guys, that wraps up this podcast. So as always, you all stay awesome, and we will see you in the next episode.